So I'd like to welcome everyone here this afternoon. Most of you travelled up from Bangkok, quite a long way. What I plan to do is to give a general introductory talk for maybe 40-45 minutes, after which there'll be a short break just to stretch your legs, and then we'll have a meditation session for about half an hour, and after that we'll have a questions and answers session. As I think many of you are very new or quite new to Buddhism, and some of you already have a fair amount of experience, then I'm sure the questions will be, interests will be quite varied. So to try to cover everything as well as I can in the short time we have, I think the questions and answer session is probably the best way to do that. And planning to finish at 3:30, but I'm still available after that if anybody wants to stay on and chat more informally. The reason for ending at 3:30 is really I'm just worried you're going to get stuck in traffic jams on the way back to Bangkok. But if anybody does want to stay on after that and chat, they're very welcome to do so. Okay, I'd like to begin with a few general remarks about Buddhism, or Theravada Buddhism, this particular school of Buddhism, the one in which I've trained and which I've studied to some extent. I'd like to start off with a general classification of religions. That it seems to me we can distinguish between the religions that originated in the Middle East and those that originated in India, and the religions that originated in the Middle East, Judaism, Christianity, Islam, the monotheistic religions can be classified as belief systems. They are religions in which faith plays the predominant part, predominant role. And that being the case, in the West, we've tended to understand religion as to be primarily a matter of faith. And indeed, these religions are often referred to as the great faiths. And that being so, there's often the tendency to apply that same standard to the religions that grew up in India. I think it's that misapplication which leads to a lot of confusion or misunderstanding about the nature of Buddhism. The religions that grew up in India, speaking most particularly here about Buddhism, are not belief systems. I would characterize them as, or I would characterize Buddhism as an education system. So this is the first distinction I'd like to make here between religion as belief system and religion as education system. If we try to look at Buddhism as a belief system and say, what do Buddhists believe in, or Buddhists believe in reincarnation, and Buddhists believe that the world is suffering, and all these kind of things, then we're already well on the way to a complete misunderstanding of what Buddhism is all about. So the first step to understanding this is to consider it's a different kind of religion. It's a different sort of religion, an education system. Now, what do I mean by an education system? And is there a role for faith in an education system? Any endeavor in life, whether it's considered a secular or a religious endeavor, is dependent on taking on certain beliefs. Even scientific research is based on certain beliefs about our ability to understand the world through the means of the senses, and certain implicit beliefs about the nature of reality. So it's a matter of making those beliefs conscious and understanding what belief is. So in Buddhism, it's an education system which incorporates faith or a certain kind of faith, but it's one that also insists on including the nature of faith within the range of those things to be studied. The word for faith used in the ancient Buddhist scriptures is sattha, and you'll find if you look in the suttas, the teachings of the Buddha, that wherever this word occurs, it's always accompanied by the word panya, or faith, or wisdom, as it's usually translated, or discernment. As I say, it's considered that any kind of belief which lacks that willingness to apply one's critical intelligence to is not Buddhist faith. And in Buddhism we make a clear distinction between faith and knowledge. To say faith applies when you haven't experienced something for yourself, and you can choose to believe that it's true or not. But however strongly you believe in something, that belief is not knowledge, at least as Buddhism understands the word knowledge. Now often, if somebody believes in something very strongly, believes in it so strongly that they have no doubts at all, they tend to confuse that strong faith with knowledge. They say, I know. You say, what do you mean when you say, I know? You say, I believe. And so we get this kind of circular reasoning that I believe because it's true, and it's true because I believe it. And this is one of the basic foundations for a great deal of strife and conflict in the world, because if you think that something is true because you have no doubts in it, and you feel in your heart that it must be true, then you're inevitably going to have problems when you meet other people or other groups who have exactly the same intuitive certainty about something which you have dismissed as false. And a great deal of difficulty is how you relate to somebody who is equally sure that they're right about something that you're sure is wrong. Classic responses to this dilemma are try to have nothing to do with those people and just mix with the people who have the same belief as you do, and you can constantly reinforce your faith. Or you can try and perhaps force people who have a different belief to you to change their beliefs and adopt yours. Or perhaps you can try methods of persuasion of one kind and another.